how does the climate, this is a good one, because you think, hey, Hawaii's, the climate's perfect. Well, we have a lot of different climates. I think on the Big Island, we have 11 of the world's 14 climates or something. Something to that. How does the climate and location affect home maintenance in Hawaii? A little bit different than where I grew up in Michigan, where you had to shovel snow out of your driveway. But tell us.
To go back to that, you don't have to winterize that tiny home that you're going to have. Here in Hawaii, you don't have to winterize homes. We don't typically have heaters unless you're up in, say, Waimea. Oahu has very few homes that we don't have the elevation, so we don't have the homes on Oahu that typically have heating systems. So we typically will have air conditioners. I have had a couple of clients that have had fireplaces, but they've never used them. They're actually fully functioning fireplaces, but have never used them because our temperature is moderate all year round, and you don't really need it. So there's certain things that you don't have to do. And from an insulation standpoint, I mean, even go back to the construction of homes in the 60s and the 70s with single wall construction. That's one single board. That's your interior and exterior wall. It's redwood tongue and groove planks, right? There is no insulation. And you don't really need it because of the moderate temperature. And it's not until recently that, I use R30 insulation and radiant barriers and things such as that when I'm doing it now, but that's just for a comfort thing, but it's not necessary. So, there's in some sense, there's less that you have to do than in some places on the mainland. And then you get salt air. Salt air is the big one, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the other thing is for change in elevation, where I live now is about 700 feet above sea level. It's a town called village, I should say. It's not a town, called Waikoloa. I used to live up in Waimea, which goes up to about 2,700 feet elevation. And I lived there for a while. We also had a fireplace. And some winters we would burn that thing a couple times a week. Wood burning fireplace. We burned it a couple times a week. One of the main things that we used to have to do for maintenance is power wash the house because there is more moisture, and you would get some dirt. Sometimes you'd get the beginnings of moss or mold, whatever. So you'd power wash your house. It's a very important thing to do. It's one of the maintenance things to do. You might not have to paint your house as often, but it's important, just like you would wash your car, that you wash that house. So
yeah, that's interesting because that's, your windward sides of the island typically get the weather that comes in, which brings in the moisture. It hits the mountains, the clouds rise up and release. So the windward sides of the islands typically tend to be our lush green side. And on the other side of that mountain, on the leeward side, it tends to be much drier. And so on the windward sides, I would say, your moisture level is higher. You have to power wash to keep mildew away and at bay. And on the leeward side, you don't have that as much. But we do also have significant bugs, big bugs, centipede, B-52 bombing cockroaches, right? Those suckers are big and they fly. So the tropical climate comes with some bugs that are different that you don't see on the mainland. And the funny thing is people say, I don't want bugs. And it's like, well, you better not move to Hawaii then, because even if you go on a pest treatment plan, you're going to have some. You are not going to eliminate all of them.
Right.
And it's something that we live with, and usually they're not a problem. And you can maintain it through a maintenance program, right?
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Yeah.
But the biggest one is that salt air component and corrosion, right? Man, that salt air corrodes everything. And if you're oceanfront or you're really close to the ocean, if you're not using marine grade materials or materials that can withstand that salt air, it rapidly deteriorates. And I know even just TVs, computers, things such as that, electronics, you're replacing them significantly faster than you are if you're inland more, if you're up at elevation as well.
Yeah, luckily the TVs don't cost as much as they used to. You get a big old 55-inch screen TV for what? But it is a good point, and the maintenance for that is
more and more expensive, more often and more expensive. I mean, marine grade stainless steel if you're using that, or
Right.
things such as that. If you're using regular flashing, or you're not totally sealed very well, even using galvanized nails and things such as that, you're going to get nail bleeds, rust nail bleeds running down, and then your home just starts to look disgusting. And you're probably going to have to paint, because paint is a sealant, right? So you're probably going to have to paint more often, more frequently than the every 8-year kind of estimated cycle that you have. So not only are you doing it more frequently, but it ends up costing more because the materials you need to use closer to the ocean are more expensive, and then you're probably having to address things more frequently.
Yeah. So regardless of what you think, folks, there is some maintenance that is necessary if you own a home in Hawaii. But again, like most things, if you take care and you do it right, then you're going to be good. So
Yep.